everybody. I'm here once again, gonna do a little coloring, a little reading, uh, some BSing, might review something. Who knows? um, oh man. Earlier, I found an old video message I had sent my family a few years back when I worked at Theaters at Mall of America. And I thought it was kind of funny. Like, I have this fucking long ass beard. I don't know if I could grow again. And I don't know if I ever would, but I might. I went and we're limited on what we can do when we go out and such. I went and grabbed a new activity coloring book, as well as my other supplies. And I'm thinking of doing. Oh, I don't know. Something. I was thinking of doing that. I'll color this. Just start. I also bought a couple of new books. I'm gonna read a little more of the book from last night again. Um, uh, this, in case you're wondering, not that you would care or why you would want to know what I'm wearing, but this shirt is from. I worked the Minnesota State Fair for 4 or 5 years, doing grandstand emissions for the concert series. It's a 14,000 seating capacity amphitheater. It is one of the best concert venues in the state of Minnesota, and we had really good shows. It wasn't like just your typical, wasn't your typical state fair kind of thing. Wasn't just has-beens or soon to be's or never going to be's. We would get a lot of actual legit big names because we treat artists like the stars that they are. They have good facilities for them and whatnot, so people wanted to play it. But that wasn't what this is about. Well, during the the year Prince died, because he is he's fucking Prince, but also he's one of the two most important pieces of Minnesota musical history. It's Dylan and Prince. Those are like the twin towers of Minnesota music. Dylan and Prince, like, it's kind of hard to beat those, unless you're Tupelo, Mississippi, and you produce Elvis Aaron Presley, or you're Hoboken, New Jersey, and you produce Frank Sinatra. It's kind of hard to beat those. Gary, Indiana, and you produced Michael Jackson. You can eat. Those guys, those people that I named, they're on that same level. You know, so like it's kind of hard to say that, but like these two guys came from the same state. You know, yeah, in the '60s we had Dylan, who basically was the '60s. Um, and then in the '80s we had Prince. We also had MJ. Like we, but like that. Anyways, the on his death, we had a series. Um, all these big name acts, they all did. I can't remember what songs they all did, but all of them did one Prince song, and it was fucking awesome. It was great. It was actually kind of fun. He actually would have hated it because he hated people covering his music. Or so he said. Yeah. He didn't seem to ever mind. He didn't pay the same respect to other artists because he covered people all the fucking time. Apparently, it must be. Anyways, if you cover Prince, it's theft. If he covers you, it's an honor. Anyways, Prince was actually fucking awesome, and people don't. Most people, unless you do something totally original with it, you're not gonna equal it. So maybe you shouldn't be covering his stuff. And ain't gonna lie, when he does cover your stuff, you probably should be honored. Alright, I have no idea what I'm gonna color this. I also got some different, no, not really all that different. I got, you know, just a little very, a little something to add to the coloring. You know, different colors. Well, just, I'm a little tired tonight. Sorry about that. If I do edit, I might edit that out, but I probably won't. Let's see. Emerald. These are, iMagician. iMagician crayons, 24. What's this? Stony Stone Gray. I don't know if you can see that. Stony Stone Gray. Oh. Let's see. What colors? Ooh. Coconut shell. Let's use that. You need to have a good red. Let's do brick. She's a brick house. Oh no. Oh. The Commodores are gonna sue me. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see. Do a little of this. Bum 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 bum. No 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 no. Probably won't go as long as I did last night. Probably won't go as long as I did last night. Alright. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera. Ooh, too much of that song. Bad, 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 Robert. La la la. Anarchy for you, Kai. Time and maybe different times with the traffic line. Your future dream is a shopping scheme, 'cause I wanna be anarchy. Destroy. Que sera, sera. Alright. Let's do this bottom half. Or this bottom 1/4. Oh. My significant other, who's one of the people probably watching this, gets mad that I don't do all the detailed pieces, but I'm never been big on details. She should know that. I'm gonna change. She's a great person. She's one of the greatest humans ever. Christina Hope Smirtnick. Love of my life. Greatest decision I ever made was to go after that girl. I didn't really go after that girl. I just hung out hoping she would change her mind about me, and she did. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. Doing these videos, that's what spreads my happiness. I was doing them on Facebook, and I might do some more on Facebook. I do share these onto my Facebook and my Twitter, because hey, whatever. The idea is to share this bullshit with the world, I'm really just bullshitting. I don't know if I like these as much as I like the Crayolas. I don't know. Mm. But those are just live, and they don't record, so you don't keep them for your. It's just live, or maybe you can record them. I don't know. I don't know why I even said that. The real thing is like, you know, there's some of these videos don't get seen, and all of those did, and too many people would pop up. Not that I don't want people looking at these or watching these. They're not set to private. They're set to public for a reason. I do. It's just people would comment and stuff, and I don't know. It's not that. No, it's not that either. There was just, there was an element I didn't really like about doing videos on Facebook. Felt, what it is, on those I felt more like I had to confess things or talk about things, not things I actually wanted, not, like more personal bullshit. And I do give some here, obviously. I think on one I talked about rambly, rambly sense, and not completely coherent, and not giving every ounce of detail of how I got screwed by a school that's now associated with Everest, and whatever. And I wasn't very clear on exactly how it was. Oh yeah, that looks cool. I like that. How it was that they actually screwed me, but it's just, I don't like. I'll tell a story about myself if I think I can entertain you or get you to laugh, but excuse me. Oh, that was gross. I apologize. Or, get you to understand something, or educate you or something like that. I don't know. But yeah. But beyond that, I really don't like talking about myself, really. I just, I don't. I'm not my favorite person. Smart's my favorite person. Christina Smart. That's my favorite person. And then my mama. Let's do. No. do. I ain't gonna lie. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, it's not bad. That's, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna bring in the gray. And I know. Because it's something different. Ba ba ba. There are no rules. There are no rules. That's cool. Just do what you enjoy, man. Do what you enjoy. Frank. Robert. Yes. Do what you enjoy. Oh, my lovely boy. Be seek everyday magic. Go with the flow. Don't you know how to go with the flow? Ooh, no. Oh, that might be. Oh, boy. We might have a challenge for later. Either later tonight or tomorrow. We'll see. Man. What do I want? What do I want? Ugh. Oh, alright. I'm gonna do a little reading. I should. I don't know. Oh. Chapter 3. Interfering with a crime scene, disobeying a police officer's orders, obstruction of justice. I'm not cutting that out, but we've already started really great. Alright. Interfering with a crime scene, disobeying a police officer's orders, obstruction of justice. If Bruce had been hoping to avoid news coverage after the flurry on his 18th birthday, slamming his brand new car into a criminal's vehicle was probably not the best way to do it, especially not so soon before graduation. At least the headlines had veered away from talk of his parents and his money, focusing instead on questions about Bruce's well-being and splashing photos of his ruined car on their front pages. Rumors of his possible death had swirled online almost instantly after the wreck, along with speculation about whether he was driving while intoxicated or escaping the police. An eventful couple of weeks, said Lucius Fox from across the table. They sat together in a waiting room at the courthouse, watching as the TV news repeated the footage of his Aston Martin crashing into the getaway car. 2 weeks had passed since the crash, and Bruce still had a mild headache from the concussion he had. He'd missed a full week of school because of it and spent the second enduring questions from classmates and swarms of reporters hanging out at the Manor's gate. Still, he couldn't help feeling a hint of satisfaction at the TV's news coverage. It was clear to everyone who watched it, even Lucius, that the car would have escaped from the police had Bruce not intervened. Well, our car did everything it should have, right? Bruce ventured. How was that for a test of its safety features? Lucius raised an eyebrow at him, unable to hide a slight smile at his comment, then sighed and shook his head. At least he didn't have the panicked look on his face today that he did when he first visited Bruce at the hospital and saw him strapped to an IV. It's my fault, he replied. I shouldn't have asked you to take that car to the benefit in the first place. Well, I ended up in the right place at the right time. Or the wrong place at the wrong time, Bruce. Why did you do it? You suddenly felt a need to dole out justice? It was a question the police had asked him first, too, but Bruce still wasn't sure how to answer. Because I knew I could stop him, I guess, he replied, and the police couldn't. Was I just supposed to stand by and watch? You're not in law enforcement, Bruce. You can't just intervene like that. The man's eyes turned stern for a moment. If you didn't look the way you did, the police might have shot you. Might have shot you dead for pulling a stunt like that. Guilt hit him, and Bruce couldn't answer. If he could have intervened in that alley where his parents died so many years ago, his life might have turned out very differently. Lucius was right, of course, and it sent a thread of shame through him. His pale skin may have saved his life. I won't do it again, he said. He said instead, softly. The video panned to police shouting at the other driver to come out and the man being pulled out of the wreckage, a low-ranking member of the Nightwalkers. The reporter said little is known about the group, although authorities have released their symbol, one that appears at the locations of each target. Nightwalkers. Bruce recalled the word being shouted by police that night. He had heard the group's name mentioned on the news more frequently over the past year. In fact, the primary suspect in the murder of that businessman, Sir Robert Grant, was considered a Nightwalker. On the TV, an image appeared of a coin engulfed in flames, then of that symbol sprayed on the side of buildings at various crime scenes. There was something ominously personal about the symbol. The burning of wealth, like the Nightwalkers would gladly do it to Bruce himself if given the chance. Well, Bruce, Lucius said as the footage began to repeat. He leaned back in his chair, running a hand absently over his closely cropped dark curls. The lights in the room cast a faint blue highlight against his brown skin. I suppose our summer plans will have to change. Bruce turned to face his mentor. For being the new head of the research and development at Wayne Tech, Lucius Fox was remarkably young. His smile was quick, his eyes bright and alert, and his step energetic in a way that made it seem like he was perpetually eager to change the world. I can still come into the lab in my spare time, Bruce suggested, giving Lucius a hopeful look. Just make sure I'm not the one driving. Lucius let out a soft laugh at that. We'll figure things out around your new schedule. He nodded towards a tablet lying between them on the table. The world's more dangerous than you give it credit for, Bruce. We're just trying to watch your back, okay? Bruce studied the tablet. It was currently logged into his bank accounts, accessible only with his fingerprints and a code, showing off the new security technology Lucius and Wayne Tech had developed. If your accounts are opened suspiciously, say with the wrong code, Lucius had told him, it'll send our security network an alert and remotely disable the offending computer in an instant. Bruce gave Lucius a nod. Thanks for this, he said. I'm looking forward to seeing all your teams been up to. Lucius's brown eyes lit up. Our security drones aren't ready to patrol Gotham just yet. Although we've already successfully pitched our advanced defense armament to Metropolis, they're going in on a huge buy for us. The Advanced Defense Armament Project, it was a mission that Lucius and Bruce shared a common passion for. Encryption tech to secure Gotham City's banks just as it secured Bruce's accounts. Drone machines to secure the city's streets, technology on all fronts to save them. That's good. This city needs to be safer, he said quietly. We'll make it happen with this. I'm sure of it. Out of the corner of his eye, Bruce could see the news once again showing footage of the Nightwalker. He had killed himself in jail by slashing both his wrists with a smuggled razor the day before detectives were going to interrogate him. The police still had no idea what the Nightwalkers had been up to inside the building, and now, with their only suspect dead, they had lost their biggest lead. Bruce studied the mugshot. Honestly, I should, instead of reading it to you, I should read it, memorize it, and then pretend to read it. And I wouldn't be making so many mistakes. It would just look really cool. But that's not who I am. I'm not really cool. Except sometimes. Certain circumstances. Bruce studied the mugshot on the screen, trying to come to terms with the fact that this man he'd seen alive just 2 weeks ago was now dead. The thought made his stomach churn. This guy must have been either intensely loyal to or terrified of his boss, whoever that was. Lucius nodded at the TV. With the Nightwalkers in the streets, it needs to happen sooner rather than later. A silence lingered between them, the memory of his late parents suddenly heavy in the air. Before Lucius finally got to his feet, he walked over to Bruce's side and put a hand on his shoulder. "Steady, Bruce," he said kindly. Bruce remembered this look from when he would visit Wayne Tech with his father and listen as Lucius, then a promising intern, gave his father a rundown of new projects he was working on. Now Bruce smiled back at his mentor. "Sorry for the trouble, Lucius." Lucius gave him another pat on the shoulder. "Someday I'll let you in on all the trouble I got into when I was your age." Then he bid him goodbye and stepped out of the room. Bruce's phone dinged. He looked down to see a group text from Harvey and Diane. "Harvey, hey, so what's the official verdict?" "Bruce, what else?" "Guilty." "Harvey, sorry man, what's your sentence?" "Probation for 5 weeks in community service." "No! It's like half the summer and finals and graduation are coming up. Did they say where you have to do it?" "Not yet." Harvey didn't respond to that, but Diane texted back a string of sad-faced emojis. "Let's hang out soon," she said, "to celebrate that you survived without breaking your neck. We're overdue for our birthday diner trip." A pause. "You're going to be okay, okay?" Bruce cracked a smile that... "Thanks," he texted back. Just when he was starting to wonder how much longer he'd have to stay in the room, 2 police officers stopped inside. One of them nodded for Bruce to follow them out. "You're free to go. We'll take you home. Your guardian will meet you there, along with Detective Draken." "Detective Draken?" Bruce asked as they went. "She's discussing your sentence with Mr. Pennyworth." The officer looked uninterested in saying more on the subject, leaving Bruce to speculate on who the detective might be. Half an hour later, they pulled up at the elaborate Ah, at the elaborate gilded gates of Wayne Estate, the four pillars bordering the manor's front entrance came into view, along with the set of stone stairs leading up to the massive double doors. Twin towers rising 3 stories high peaked at either end of the manor. Iron light poles, their lamps not yet lit in the early afternoon, adorned the sides of the cobblestone path leading from the gate to the stairs. Bruce saw a blue car waiting outside the gate. The words Gotham City Police Department emblazoned prominently in bold white across the doors. Standing in front of the driver's side was Alfred, and beside him waited a woman in a light silk shirt that contrasted with her black skin. Her draped, long tan coat draped neatly across her shoulders. She straightened as their car approached. While Alfred gave the car a quick wave, the woman's eyes fixed on Bruce. "You've kept me waiting," she said to the officer in the driver's seat. "Sorry, detective," he replied. "Hit some traffic on the way over." "Bruce," Alfred said, leaning down to peer into the car. "This is Detective Draken." The detective rested a hand against the window on the passenger's side. Bruce noticed the simple silver rings on her dark fingers and her impeccably polished nails, painted a clean brown nude. "Nice to meet you, Bruce Wayne," she greeted him. Glad you're not the one driving." Then she turned away. The windows in Wayne Manor's parlor had been thrown open to the air, letting in dappled sunlight and a breeze. Bruce walked through the front entrance into a grand foyer that opened up to a high ceiling. A staircase adorned with wrought iron railings curved up to a balcony that overlooked the living and dining rooms. At the moment, everything seemed in a state of disarray. White canvases were draped all over the living and dining room furniture, protecting it while workers refinished the walls. And part of the stairs remained blocked off because a few loose banisters needed replacement. Alfred was busy directing 2 people from the garage to the kitchen as they delivered groceries in preparation for the week's meals. It all seemed like a normal afternoon scene, except that Bruce found himself sitting across from a stern detective who now observed him from behind red-trimmed glasses, her stare discerning. Everything about her was perfectly put together, not a single wrinkle in her clothes. Her black hair was pulled back into rows of orderly braids that formed a thick ball on top of her head. No curls seemed to be out of place. Bruce tried to figure out what category to put her in. He'd met a few people in life who weren't either cozying up to him in an attempt to get something or bullying him out of envy. But the detective She didn't want anything from him. She wasn't jealous of him, and she certainly didn't seem to have any ulterior motives. Right now, she wasn't trying to hide how much she disliked him. He wondered about her. What cases she must have investigated over the years. Draken tightened up her lips at the light of interest in his eyes. An officer at the precinct told me she still remembers you as a small boy. Definitely didn't see your publicity stunt coming. It wasn't a publicity stunt, he replied. I get enough attention already. Oh? She said in a cool, calm voice. Is that so? Well, you're not very good at avoiding it, are you? Lucky for you, you have an army of lawyers to help you get off easy. I'm not getting out of anything, he protested. Alfred cast Bruce a warning glance as he placed the cheese platter and a tray of tea on the coffee table between them. Detective Draken leaned forward to pick up her teacup, crossed her legs, and gestured once at Bruce. Have you ever done menial work in your life? I used to help my parents in the garden and my dad in the garage. I volunteered with them at soup kitchens. So in other words, you haven't. Bruce opened up his mouth to protest and closed it. No, he hadn't. Alfred managed a staff of a dozen employees to keep the mansion perfectly maintained. They were paid well to do a professional job and to keep out of sight as much as possible. Dirty dishes vanished from the kitchen, and fresh towels appeared folded and ready in the bathrooms. Bruce could recall the occasional sound of a broom in the halls, a pair of shears snipping the hedges outside. But with a twinge of shame, he realized he didn't know a single staff member at Wayne Manor. Well, you're about to do some real menial work, the detective went on. You're going to be under my supervision for your community service, Bruce. Do you know what that means? Bruce tried to keep his face calm as he met her eyes. What? It means I will make sure you never want to run afoul of the law again. Draken took a delicate sip of her tea. And where are you assigning me? She put her cup back down on the saucer. Arkham Asylum, she replied. Ugh. We will continue in just a moment. Ugh. Where did my colors go? Ugh. Oh, there you are. I'm gonna put these back. Sounds like our old buddy Bruce is in some serious trouble. I wonder if he'll get out of it. Of course he will. Ugh. All right, guys. We'll continue tomorrow.